Hey there, this is Matt once again. Welcome back to another video. This is a fan commentary on one of my personal favorite films, maybe my favorite film ever, which I'm sure I'll get into when I do this. Hard Target. Now, people who know me, they know I'm such a huge fan of the film. I've even received gifts based on the film. For example, this great poster, very nice guy sent me. I have the VHS of the film. My fan cut of the movie, which I'll be watching. I'll mention how you can watch it in just a sec. The Blu-ray of the film, the overseas DVD of the film, and I was even sent the Laserdisc. Very cool to have. No, I don't have a Laserdisc player, but I'm glad to have this because I'm a huge fan of the film. It's a cool looking, it just looks cool. And again, I'm such a big fan of this movie, I'm glad to have it. Now, let's get into it. It's a minute change in. Many times I've done a fan cut of this movie. It's not perfect, I'm not a professional, but I uploaded it to a website called BitChute, and the link will be down below. Feel free to click on it and watch along with me, or honestly watch it by yourself first. And then, if you want, feel free to check out my commentary after. It's a combination of the theatrical cut, or I should say the DVD/Blu-ray. Man, this will take a lot to explain. Real quick, like, the Blu-ray that came out is the same cut as the UK DVD, which is a couple minutes longer than the theatrical cut. It's a few minutes longer than the US DVD. If you have the US DVD, it's missing a couple minutes. These have a couple more minutes into it. And then there's a workprint version, which has a lot more stuff in it. And so I did. As a fan cut, I combined the two. But let's get into it. I'm sure we'll get more and more into the things. I have a pause at the beginning. I'm going to count down from 5. And when I say press play, feel free to press play and follow along. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, pressing play. And we have the Universal logo. Now, I am a big fan of this movie. It's always hard to pick what's a #1 favorite film. To me, it fluctuates between Cobra and Rambo 2 with Stallone, Aliens with James Cameron, this movie. But if I had to pick after the work print came out and then I did my fan cut, I would say this is my personal favorite because it's just my kind of movie. It's, to be honest, this was my comic book film back in the day. And our comic book films were Cliffhanger, Demolition Man, the Rambo films, Commando. And out of all of them, which I love, this is my favorite. John Woo, fantastic filmmaker. He was doing films like The Killer, Hard Boiled. This was his first American film. And I'm a huge Jean Claude Van Damme fan. I even reviewed all of his movies. It's on my playlist on my channel. I reviewed all of his films, and many of them I love. Kickboxer, Cyborg, Death War, Double Impact, Universal Soldier, Time Cop, but this is always my favorite. I love this up-close shot of the arrow going by, and the guy there with the beard, the homeless man, is Chuck Ferrer, who is the writer of this film. And he would actually write the comic book Virus, which then became the movie with Jamie Lee Curtis, but he wrote the comic book. But he's written other films, but yeah, that's the writer there. I love the formation of the titles. Hard Target. Just a simple but yet effective title, too. And even the tagline. Don't hunt what you can't kill. This, oh, they don't have a... Yeah, I thought they have the tagline there, but they have it actually on here, on this DVD. I love that poster, too. There's such a classic poster. Simple but effective. And even you can tell the word print with the numbers, but this little bit, not in the Blu-ray, which is extended from the U.S. theatrical cut, um, and I like it. Even the little snippets, showing more torture to this guy, more slow-mo. It almost seemed as if they wanted to take a John Woo film and make it less John Woo, which is ridiculous. And of course, the MPAA did a number on this movie, NC-17, which is ridiculous. Just if everything was put back in, it would easily get an R just like that. That's what makes it ridiculous. Music by Grant Revell. He does a great job on the score. He did music for films like The Crow, From Dusk Till Dawn, among many other movies. And here we have our character, who we will find out is the father of Yancey Butler, and he was sadly homeless, and he's being hunted down. And it's that classic story of hunters hunting people for sport, the most dangerous game, done with the great style of John Woo. Now, this was not in the theatrical cut, this extended bit of him getting the arrow out. They put that back for the Blu-ray. I would say from the work print, what they put back into the Blu-ray, which is the UK cut, a little bit at the beginning is extended, like coming up here where he gets the gasoline tank and throws it at the bad guys, and has actually fucked some of them up. It shows that he is a competent foe, that he was a soldier. That's what these bad guys do. They get ex-soldiers. None of this was in the theatrical cut or the theatrical DVD, and then I don't know why. Again, it's like the studio says, cut down the action. It's a fucking action film. Don't cut action from an action film. That's why people go watch the movie, to see action. You can't have too much action. Here we get our sort of, not even sort of, just feel bad for this guy. He's doing the best that he can. He's almost got blown up. He's got a couple arrows in him. He already had to dig an arrow out. Sort of the slow, painful death of this character. Feel sorry for. He definitely doesn't go out like a wimp. And sort of the final straw coming up here when the arrow goes through his chest. But of course we have our villains, Lance Henriksen, who's a great actor, Aliens, Pumpkinhead, Near Dark, and you have Arnold Vosloo as Lance Henriksen's second in command, who would later be in The Mummy in 1999, Darkman 2 and 3, and Lance Henriksen is just a cold, mean motherfucker of a villain. And throughout the film, you'll see he talks a lot of shit to his subordinates, and just a great foe for our hero. And then it just shows how much assholes they are. That's You don't just kill the guy, but you step on his face to close his eyes. No respect even for the dead. And that little snippet where he calls the guy a buffoon on the work print. Now, I thought it was a nice touch that they have it take place in New Orleans. From what I understand, they did that because Jean Claude Van Damme had an accent. But hey, it works out perfectly. New Orleans brings it a great atmosphere, a great look for an action film. So that worked out perfectly. Now, I first saw this film on VHS back in the day. And I know technically this is the reason I'm doing this. I didn't even mention it's the 25th anniversary of Hard Target. Hard Target came out August 20th of 1993. So I figured, hey, it's the 25th anniversary. It's not the exact day. I tried to do it, but I just couldn't. Things were busy and hectic. But better late than never. But it's the same time frame. 25 years ago. Sadly, did not see this in the theater. Again, saw on VHS. And it's cut down form, and I still loved it. It was still my favorite Van Damme movie. And at the time, I was watching Van Damme films on VHS. Bloodsport, Cyborg, Death Warrant, Kickboxer. Loving them all. And just the hard-hitting, insane action, especially when you get to the second half of the movie, is what really drew me in. And then many, many years later, it was after, sometime after 2007, 2008. It was from 2008 to around maybe 2010, 2012, somewhere around that year span, couple year span, I found out about workprint. And I don't know how I found out. Maybe I was just looking up stuff about hard target, and people like, oh, this workprint. Like, what the hell? What's a workprint? And I bought it from a person online. They sent it to me, and I watched it. And I went, what the fuck? Like all this stuff cut out, and it gave it. There was more style. There was more usage of slow mo. It made it feel more like a John Woo film. And on top of that, much more action. Like so many times you get the uncut version or a work print or something, and you find there's not much different about it, so it's disappointing. This was the total opposite. This was a mind blower and a game changer for me. And it and it made me go, you know, I want to make my own version just for my own personal fun and use. And again, I'm not a professional at all. I wish I was. But I remember then I showed it to my friend Effrey because the uncut stuff, someone had uploaded it in parts on YouTube at the time. And so we would watch it in parts, and it was the first time he had saw it. He was blown away too. And as you can see here, you get a bit more dialogue between these two, Yancey Butler and our other actor here, who is Van Damme's friend, who's also a homeless guy. I thought he did a good job in the role. He was likable. It felt sorry for what happens to him. And then in the Wordprint version, it's much more graphic because he doesn't just shot to shit. He falls to the ground, then gets back up and shot more to shit. A lot bloodier, a lot gorier. And you have that great Graham Revell music. Again, I love the way John Woo does the cam work in the film. And this is my favorite John Woo film. I mean, most people would say Hard Boiled, which Hard Boiled is a great movie. But being a huge fan of Van Damme, and then him being in this kind of movie, maybe a sucker for it. I love the simple but effective plot. I love the idea of a man being hunted by other people, and then the hunter becomes the hunted. And you'll notice that a lot of times that I use the word print version of this because Van Damme's voice, for some reason, the word print version is better. It's more natural. Like this scene here, if you watch the same scene in the theatrical cut that's on the, or on the Blu-ray, the DVDs, you could tell what they did was made Van Damme redub his role. And I have no idea why. Maybe they thought, oh, we can't understand Van Damme, so he's got to redub his whole, or most of his dialogue. That was the wrong choice. Because again, his dialogue in the word print, it flows better. It's smoother. And I didn't have much of a problem with his delivery in the theatrical cut. I'm a bit Van Damme fan. All I'm saying is I think the word print, his voice is even better. I didn't watch like that scene where he's talking with the lady about the cup of coffee. Watch it on the word print, then go and watch if you have the DVD. Watch that same scene. His voice is more natural. His voice is more. I don't know, it just flows better. And they should not have made him redub his voice. I don't know why they did that, but what can you do? Here we have our great action sequence to start the film. I mean, we already had a fun action scene where, well, fun's the wrong word, but this poor guy getting hunted, and this is what you do. You don't hit ladies. Having fun. Take your Pete stick and your boyfriend and find the bus to catch. And he was going to kick some ass. He's going to kick some ass. Because you do not fuck with women when Van Damme and his mullet is in town. Your boyfriend. Find the bus to catch. And this is sort of like a old West sounds the wrong thing, but it's like he doesn't need a gun. That's why I like this move here. You think, oh, it's a gun. He doesn't need his gun. You're like, these are his guns, right? Fuck and you. And it's like, okay, you don't tap me on top of the car. I'm going to sweep your ass down. Suck it. You'll land on the hood about now. And then it's like, oh, you don't hit me with a beer bottle? Fuck you. Here's a foot. Foot in your face. Oh, bring that beer bottle right back to you. You keep it. Slam you right into the pole. Oh yeah, motherfucker, you want to come at me? You ever heard of sweep the leg? There you go. Get your ass down and stay down. Oh, you don't come at me with a knife? That's a bad mistake. Gonna gut punch you. Like, yeah. This is a move he does in quite a few films. I know he did the Raul Julia Street Fighter, among others, that tap him in the back of his head and drawing him in to another direction. Nope, big mistake, because I don't break your arm. Yeah! Fun, well choreographed, no shaky cam. I understand the location, I understand the choreography. It's not edited as if someone has ADD. There's nothing against someone has ADD. But for me, when a movie does that, it does get annoying quite a few times. There are exceptions, of course. But it's a great way to showcase our hero. And I love the look of Van Damme. I love the mullet. I'm jealous. I wish I had a mullet. But I was losing my hair, so I just shaved everything off. I wish I had a mullet. Mullets get a bad rap, but Jack Burton, Big Trouble in China, John Rambo, especially Rambo 2 and 3, this one. Mullets are cool. The badasses have mullets. Van Damme, Kurt Russell, Stallone. 3 badasses. Now, getting to the sort of people who made the film. John Woo, his first American movie, he wanted Kurt Russell, but Kurt Russell was very busy. Because this is around the time he had done Unlawful Entry, which is a good flick. I just reviewed that recently. Stargate was coming up, Backdraft, like tons of movies. He was getting a lot of work at this time. So it's like Universal goes, hey, how about this up and coming action star Van Damme? So like, okay. And while him and John Woo Van Damme didn't get along the best, but it seems they still got along okay. To the point that, it seems like they would be willing to work with each other again. So that says something. And Van Damme would work with a lot of Hong Kong directors, Ringo Lam and Match from Risk, and then In Hell, Replicant, Choi Hark, and Knockoff, and Double Team, which are flawed movies, but they're fun, batshit, insane movies. And John Woo didn't have much knowledge of the English language, so he had interpreters and things of that nature. And the producer of this film was Sam Raimi, along with Robert Tapert, the guys who made the Evil Dead films. And Sam Raimi was in a working relationship with Universal. This is around the time that you had Sam Raimi directed Darkman, Army of Darkness, and they're like, okay, how about you produce this movie, and we want you there as a producer in case John Woo doesn't work out, and you'll go in his director's chair. And it's written somewhere, like Sam Raimi said, that was ridiculous because even John Woo's 70% is better than most directors today. And of course, John Woo worked it out very well. Great director. And like John Woo before this, he did A Better Tomorrow. Wasn't a fan of those movies, but I do enjoy The Killer because you got Chow Yun Fat and Inframan himself kicking ass together. And then Hard Boiled is fantastic. The last half of that movie in the hospital was magnificent. After this, he did Broken Arrow, which I love. I think it's very underrated. He did Face Off, which I have mixed opinions on it. That's also the film that everyone says, finally, John Woo. And I'm like, what about Hard Target? What about Broken Arrow? Fuck them. Finally, Face Off. I'm like, I'm sorry. I prefer Hard Target and Broken Arrow more to Nick Cage hamming it up and John Travolta. I thought he did a better job in Broken Arrow than Face Off. That's just me, though. I don't hate Face Off, but I do think it's overrated. I'll say it there. It has some good action scenes, some nice pieces of score. I do think it's overrated because everyone's like, Face Off, Face Off. I'm like, well, there's other movies too. Finally, he made a good American movie. I'm like, no, he did that already with this movie. That's just my opinion, though. Paycheck I like. Has some action bits, but it's more of a sci-fi thriller. I enjoyed for that aspect. Wind Talkers I was not a fan of, and then I haven't seen the stuff he did after Wind Talkers. I haven't seen Red Cliff or any of the other stuff. I know there was talks for him doing the Expendables movie, and he would be happy to do it, but didn't happen, so that sucked. Uh, Speaking of Sam Raimi, he would go on to produce Time Cop, which also had Van Damme in it, in 1994 for Universal. Now, Jean Claude Van Damme, by this point, he had been in Bloodsport, Kickboxer, Lionheart, films that did fairly well. They were not 50 to $100 million blockbusters, but still, considering the budgets, they did very well. Universal Soldier. But that's the thing, like, Van Damme, he was successful, but, like, Universal Soldier and this movie each made, like, $30 million in the US, which is not much in today's age of box office movies. A lot back then, I guess. And, like, this thing here with the work print, again, if you listen to Van Damme's voice, it's more natural than if you listen on the Blu-ray and DVD. So, again, for those who are, that's why I am always curious for word prints and other things of movies, because I wouldn't find out about stuff like that. But yeah, Universal Soldier before this did well, and then this did well, and it seemed like Van Damme was finally making it. Because then you had Time Cop, which was his biggest hit, but then you had Street Fighter, you had Sudden Death. That's when he really got into his drugs and cocaine. I think that's why in Sudden Death, I think it's okay, but my problem with Sudden Death, there's too many fight doubles with Van Damme. Half the fights, he's not in them. If you don't believe me, watch them again. Half of the fights, he's not in them. It's a fight double. I'm not talking about stunts for the dangerous stuff. I'm talking during the fights. So half the time I notice, and I'm like, it takes me out of the movie. So I think that hurts Sudden Death a lot. I know that's some people's favorite, but that's why it's not in my top 5, top 10. And sadly, I do think that's because that was the height of his drug usage. I really do. Again, I don't hate Sudden Death, but that's my problem with Sudden Death. Way too many fight doubles. Here, you can't do that because his usage of slow-mo. It's one thing to do like a very dangerous stunt, that makes sense, but during the fights, because of the slow-mo, you don't see his face a lot, so that works well. And even later Van Damme stuff I enjoy. The Shepherd Border Patrol, Six Bullets, The Order, In Hell, Replicant, JCVD. So I'm a big Van Damme fan. Again, I reviewed all of his movies. I have a playlist on my channel. There's a reason why I reviewed all of them, because a lot of them I like. I love the line there. Why do they call you Chance? Well, my mama took one. There you go. Yancy Butler, she would be on this TV show Witchblade, which I didn't watch much of, but I've heard of. She would also be in Drop Zone with Wesley Snipes. And she was in a couple Lake Placid direct-to-video sequels, like 2 or 3 of them. There's been like fucking 5 or so Lake Placid movies. 5 or 6 of them for some reason. Fuck if I know why. And I think what this film does well is it's a slow burn movie. It really is when you look at it. I mean, we've had some fun action. It's a slow burn flick, but it works very well. And the thing is, if you do a slow burn, you have to make it worth it by giving us a big payoff. If you don't give us a big payoff, then fuck you. By my opinion, this does give you an excellent payoff. Because when you get to like 50 minutes, an hour in, and in this cut it's like an hour and 50 some minutes because of the footage put back in, you get like from 50 minutes, hour in on, it's like a non-stop action roller coaster movie. And I think the slow build up, it makes me care about the story. And people think, a simple story is a bad thing. It's not automatically a bad thing to have a simple story. Sometimes the most effective movies have simple stories. What's Star Wars? A boy, a girl, and a galaxy far, far away. The title, Star Wars, there's your plot. Raise the Lost Ark, what's the plot? I need to get that ark from the Nazis and save the girl, Marion. So, but people, what they say, when you say simple story, they just look down on you. Now, when it debuted in August 20th, 1993, it debuted at number 2. The Fugitive was number 1. And again, it made like 30 some million bucks. I think worldwide it was a total of like 74 million bucks. And this film only cost like 18, 19 million dollars. Which, considering all the stuff you see in the second half of the movie, I've seen $100 million movies today that don't have the amount of action this film does. And that says something. That says a lot. Now, if you wonder what I'm doing, I'm looking up some of these actors' names. Like this guy here, he is Elliot Keener, a city recruiter to find homeless ex-soldiers to hunt. Here we have a very nice reveal of Arno Vasu's character coming up right here. Randall. There you go. So a nice reveal of him. See, again, it's that great style of John Woo. But it pays off because, they have that great back-to-back moment, both firing at each other. And Arnold Vosloo has a wonderful death scene with Van Damme crash through the window. Bah, 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 bah. Love it. See, I keep harping on this, but and when you see the word print, Van Damme's dialogue seems more fluid. But if you watch the theatrical, oh, like it's trying to like be deeper, or I don't know how else to put it. And I thought this had a nice little heart to it as well. And I'm not sure what this music is in the word print, because for those who know word prints, they don't have the score ready. They want to get the film cut as best as they can, then get the composer to do the score so that the score will follow the beats and the ups and downs of the action on screen. So at times they'll use other pieces of music. Like Rambo 2, like First Blood is in 1 or 2 scenes, that music. Also in the finale you hear Aliens, James Horner's Aliens score, which I love, which works perfectly. But like the story here, I don't know. I would like to know, but I don't know what it is. And this lady here, her name is Casey Lemons. You may recognize her from Candyman. She was Virginia Madsen's buddy who gets killed. And then Virginia Madsen gets framed for the murder, arrested. And then Casey Lemons actually became a director. I think she did Eve's Bayou. She did The Caveman's Valentine with Samuel L. Jackson. So yeah, she became a director. And then the other guy, uh, Van Damme's buddy, Willie C. Carpenter is the guy's name, who's the homeless guy, and we'll see more of him later. Willie C. Carpenter. And pretty much just did big roles. A doctor in Amityville in 1992, a police officer in Doll Man vs. Demonic Toys. He had a small role in Full Eclipse, which I enjoy. He was a police inspector in Men in Black. Yeah, a lot of sort of small roles. He was in Brawl in Cell Block 99, that film with Vince Vaughn that I reviewed. Okay then. Now, I'm just looking at some of the info here because there is no, I mean, there's no features on the Blu-ray. There's no interviews. There's no commentary. There's no special edition. Even if they did, I don't see them doing anything with the word print, and because they barely do that anymore. I'll give you with MVD, even though they fucked up the audio. The line art, they do have both cuts, but you know, they didn't make the cut. That cut was already made by a different group, and they just took it. But they don't really do many uncut versions. Like the last time a big company did that was what, My Bloody Valentine, the original. Like very rarely, which sucks. I wish they would do that more. But yeah, the extended bits in this scene where they're beating up this sleaze guy, none of it's on the Blu-ray or the DVDs. It's only in the work print. Especially this ear cutting scene. Only in the work print. Which is a great cringe moment. I think because it's just this part. It's not the whole ear, it's the like cartilage part of the ear that makes it like more squirm inducing. And it's great effect too. I don't know who did the effect, but looks great. I guess it's kind of like how you get a paper cut, or like if the webbing gets cut, that's more squirm inducing than a finger cut off in a movie. Sometimes it's the little things. And again, Lance Henriksen is a wonderful bad guy. Back when you had great bad guys, where you had John Lithgow and Cliffhanger, Wesley Snipes and Demolition Man, both that came out this year. Even Charles Dance and Last Action Hero, which also came out this year. Tommy Lee Jones and Under Siege, which came out in '92. Tommy Lee Jones and Gary Busey. Gary Busey and Lethal Weapon. You don't really have a lot of great bad guys in action movies anymore. It's like, hire some great actors, not these no-name people that don't do a good job. And that sort of added blood spitting out of the mouth after the punch. And only on the work print version. Little touches like that I enjoy. If you don't have someone get punched, why not have them spit up blood fly in slow motion? I come back here. I make me a steak. And Aronofsky, he does a good job here too. Both wonderful. And then you have worthy villains for your worthy hero. I mean, as for other info on the film, I pretty much said it. Like, John Woo went through several scripts before deciding on a hard target. I mean, again, not much I can say about the making of the film. I wasn't there. But yeah, I guess at first it was released July of '93, but then it was released August of '93. It was the first film by an Asian director to be released by a Hollywood studio. Yeah, it made 32 million in the U.S. and 74 million worldwide. And this music here does remind me a little bit of The Crow. And of course, you have the dove, the great John Woo famous dove scene. He always has his doves in there for a pivotal moment for the dog tags. But I don't know, this piece of music does remind me of The Crow, which is not a bad thing, just that's a good score. Yeah. Where's the other dog tags? Came in pairs. And yeah, you won't see much movies like this anymore because you gotta face facts. Yeah, it's not just that, well, people won't go out and support these kind of movies. They also have to be well done, and that's of course a subjective opinion. But some of these recent guys, they haven't been doing good work in my opinion. Bullet to the Head and Escape Plan bombed in the U.S. because they fucking sucked. Stallone, I love. Love Over the Top, Cliffhanger, Demolition Man, many of the Rocky films, all four Rambo films. Bullet to the Head sucked. Escape Plan sucked. Arnold's done a lot of great stuff. Commando, The Running Man, Predator. Not Escape Plan. A nice little action sequence here. Again, John Woo, he makes a great usage of slow motion in his movies. And at least, they give him a little bit of back and forth, kicking these guys in the face. Boom, right there. Yeah, I paused to just hear that line. Pull her titties north and step on the gas. You never don't hear that kind of dialogue in movies today because we live in too much of a PC culture. As of course they would say that. They're villains. They're not good people. I like that too. You hurt my feelings. So I'm looking over here with the reception. Going. Hard Target received mixed reviews, praising the film's action scenes but noting the poor story and Van Damme's acting abilities. Two thumbs down by Siskel and Ebert. Whatever. That's why I don't buy Cinema Store either, because Cinema Store gave it a B. Yet some of the shit they fucking gave Cinema Store to just blows my mind. Now, in the workprint version, And this sequence with Lance Henriksen playing the piano, they had this weird thing where once in a while it would cut to real animals being killed by poachers and hunters. And that's like one of the things about the word print I don't care for. That's not needed. It's not wanted. The way it's done here in the theatrical of the US is that works better. I think that works a lot better. As for the word print, the other thing I that's an issue on the word print, and in the word print, the way the movie ends, it doesn't have the Van Damme versus Lance Henriksen fight scene, where Lance Henriksen has the wood that's on fire and Van Damme is kicking Lance Henriksen's ass. It ended with Van Damme doing that big super kick, Lance flying back, and Van Damme throwing the grenade. And then they extended that to have Van Damme and Lance get a fight scene, which I like that. But that's not in the work print. That was additional photography that they had. Probably audiences going, we want the bad guy to suffer, which I appreciate and I agree. I don't know why people keep saying this is such a bad story. What is wrong with the story? It's these badass evil people wanting to hunt humans, and they hunt the wrong motherfucker with a mullet, and their asses get paid, and their ass is grass, and Van Damme is the lawnmower. What's wrong with that story? Are you also going to complain about the story of Star Wars? Because we've never seen that before, huh? Oh, yeah, we have. And yes, I do know there was a sequel, Hard Target 2, which I ranted on. Did not care for the movie. I thought it was a lame version of this movie. And all that money put into Hard Target 2 could have been put into a special edition of this movie. To get in the work print, maybe add in the extended bit that's in the theatrical cut, the Van Damme versus Lance Henriksen fight, and put that on a Blu-ray. I think that'd be a better usage of money than fucking Hard Target 2. Just my opinion. And Lance Henriksen, you just buy what he says. He's not, phony in this role. He just makes a great bad guy. Just a wonderful bad guy. Just has a presence to him. Um, when he's a good guy like Bishop, you really buy into it. But when he's a villain, he just has that look, that presence, that mood, that delivery of dialogue that you just know you don't get fucked up if you're mess with him. A lot of people don't have that nowadays. Sad to say. It worked out very well. Now, I think this is one of the scenes that is not in the theatrical or the Blu-ray. I think people call the love scene, even though you don't see them make love, it just shows a little bit of their friendship, relationship growing. And at first, I'm like, I don't really know about this scene, but I don't know. Maybe because I'm a fan of the film and for completion's sake. It's not a scene like, oh wow, I wish this was never cut out. I can understand why it was cut out, but no, I enjoy it because it gives a little bit more to the Van Damme and Yancey Butler relationship. It gives a little bit more to it, so it doesn't bother me watching it again. And I don't think Van Damme is bad. I never thought he was a bad actor. I think Yancey Butler does fine. Sorry, now I'm just watching the movie. Now, okay, why do I enjoy this film? Since I keep mentioning, like I said, I love the simple story. I think Van Damme does a great job. He's just a badass in this movie. And this is sort of our comic book type of movie back in the day. People nowadays have their Iron Man or Batman Begins, or maybe that's the wrong one to use, but Avengers, like all these superhero movies now coming out. Every couple months is a new superhero movie. And these were ours, watching Rambo and Commando and Die Hard and all this stuff. And 1993 was a great year for that kind of stuff. I mean, Stallone had Demolition Man and Cliffhanger, two fantastic films. Arnold had Last Action Hero, which I enjoy. I think it's an underrated flick. Bruce Willis had Striking Distance, which did not do well, but it's not a bad movie in my opinion. Striking Distance is fun. Of course, he had Jurassic Park, The Fugitive, and many other movies. Van Damme had Nowhere to Run earlier in 1993, and then this came out later. I like Nowhere to Run. But yeah, I thought, you, considering the shit going on this year, 1993 is a damn good year for movies when you look back on it. It really, really is. This is where Van Damme wants to get some answers from the sleazeball once again. Very carefully. Just grunt. Hey, you don't get answers. You might as well, Van Cleef, of course, and not to Lee Van Cleef from the uh, Few Dollars More and Good, the Bad, and the Ugly, and many other movies. Steve from New York. Now, in 1993, they give you a little trip back in time. Schindler's List won Best Picture at the Academy Awards. Once again, this isn't in the Blu-ray DVD, the theatrical cut, but even little stuff like that, her slow motion, and then the camera just focusing in on this doctor's lab, so to speak. Those nice touches that again made it feel more like a John Woo film. The camera work and the slow motion. Again, it's as if someone said, you know what, make it less of a John Woo movie, which made zero sense to me. Tom Hanks won for Best Actor for Philadelphia. Uh, Films that came out in 1993 would be Sniper, Matinee, Hot Shots Part 2, Loaded Weapon 1, Groundhog Day, Falling Down, Best of the Best 2, Ninja Turtles 3, sadly. The Sandlot, Sidekicks, with Chuck Norris. Writing the Bruce Lee story. Super Mario Brothers, the movie. Cliffhanger, Last Action Hero. The Firm with Tom Cruise. Son-in-Law, Pauly Shore. And A Line of Fire with Clint Eastwood. Hocus Pocus. Coneheads. Yeah, a lot of good stuff. Well, most of them are good, in my opinion. Fortress with Christopher Lambert. True Romance. Yeah, a lot of good movies in this time period. And you're not finding a lot of that this year, like I've said. And here we have our medical examiner who's been working with Lance's character, and we're supposed to think that maybe he'll get stabbed in the back. But no, he's going to get a lot worse fate, so to speak. This is the bit here where, I don't know what you call that, the peephole, a little bit in the doorway. Don't look in the peephole, because this is what happens to you. It's not going to end well, man. Oh, right in the back, right through the eye. Now we get our poor guy here who is going to go unknowingly on a hunt of his own. I mean, he's a homeless guy. He's been paid this amount of money. He has nothing else to do. He thinks it's for a job. It's only here he'll realize it's to be hunted for his own life. Which makes me feel bad for the guy. And again, the actor did a good job with this role. And it really makes us hate the bad guys even more. So that when they get their comeuppance is even more satisfying. You're like, yeah, fucking deserve it. And this is the temptation. The $10,000. And of course, there's some doubt, some hesitance, and Lance Henriksen talks about, "Hey, you're homeless. You know, what else are you going to do?" And I guess that's sort of the question: would you do it if you had the choice? If someone said, "Hey, you do this, you're $10,000 richer," and I'm like, "Nah, I wouldn't do it." Even if I was homeless, no. But at the same time, I doubt they would have let him live anyway because he saw their faces. So really, he doesn't have a choice at this point. Now, I know at one point there was word that Van Damme had his own editor and they were editing the film. I'm fine with Van Damme taking a shot at that because him and Sheldon Ledge helped save Cyborg, in my opinion, because the director's cut of Cyborg fucking sucks. And yes, it's ego filled and probably droid fueled as well, but when he says they're going to pay, they want to see more Van Damme than Lance Henriksen, I agree. Again, I agree as a moviegoer. When I see a Ninja Turtles movie, I want to see the Ninja Turtles in the majority of it. When I see a Van Damme movie, I want to see Van Damme. I don't know why this was cut out of the theatrical cut. This sort of bit here where they're chasing him, terrorizing him. Because it gives a good leeway between where we first see him to the cemetery. Instead of just cutting straight to the cemetery. I thought it gave a little bit of a smoother flow to it. And sometimes, sadly, studios do that. Like, there's this movie I enjoy called Kidnap with Halle Berry. Lo and behold, fucking Universal. When I first saw it, oh, I love it. Got the Blu-ray in the US. Like 14 minutes was cut out. Which lose some scenes that help with the flow of it. Yeah, sometimes editing a film down will help with the flow, but sometimes editing stuff down will also fuck up the flow of a movie too. And they did that with that. So if Kidnap with Halle Berry, if you're a fan of it like I am, get the Blu-ray in Canada. That's the one to get. As some nice people on here let me know about it. But I like how John Woo and his crew, they move the camera so it's not just one place as if it was a sitcom show. Like constantly moving the camera, and then when it's still, it's there for a reason. During the final battle, Lance Henriksen's coat accidentally caught fire. He never broke character and continued the scene. Well, he pulled off the coat and threw it away. This remained in the final cut. See, that's one of the many times you'll see, Lance Henriksen is a subordinate just talking shit about him, shoving him. You'll see a lot more of that throughout this movie. And yeah, a lot more bullet hits here in this guy. Shows that our character here, he's not a damn soul. He can fight back. And you saw a lot in the U.S. In the DVD Blu-ray. This is all cut down more, and this is definitely cut down. This shot here, you see a lot more sparks and impact. Boom, and the smoke coming out. Which I think works better in this kind of movie. Of course, it's a violent film. The fucking poster is a fucking arrow. And this always makes me feel bad for this guy, man. Always feel bad for this guy. Because this guy does not deserve this at all. He's a nice guy. And sadly, I can see this happening. People just look at this guy as a homeless person. And they want nothing to do with him. And sadly, that's the truth. That's exactly what would happen. And that sucks. Again, he's trying his best. Trying his damnedest, but no one's going to help him. That's Ted Raimi. Ain't got no change, man. The accent he has. And yeah, Ted Raimi's in there because the producer was Sam Raimi. I love the artistic choice of having these freeze frames at the end. And this character, he's not a pussy. He's like, you know what? You want me? Here I am. Take your best shot, pal. And this is a lot more extended. Again, not on the theatrical, not on the DVD, not on the Blu-ray, only in the work print. Because then he gets back up. And I'm not sure what this music is in the word print. Some of it sounds like Aliens, or at least some type of James Horner, at least coming up. But yeah, look, he just so much more like Godfather, Bonnie and Clyde type of stuff. Just makes us hate the bad guys even more. See, this is the bit that reminds me of Aliens, James Horner, this bit here. Doesn't exactly sound like Aliens, sounds a little bit, so that's why I'm wondering maybe it's another James Horner thing. I don't know. Of course, the film was inspired by The Most Dangerous Game, which there's been other movies that did that. Avenging Force and Michael Dudikoff, that's a fun one. The critics talk shit about The Most Dangerous Game because it's a bad story, or bad script, or whatever. 6.1 on IMDb, way too fucking low in my opinion. Deserves a lot higher. That's where he's going to get his get the payback, so to speak. I think coming up is especially when the film's going to get into high gear. So before that happens, I'm going to get something more to drink. So I'll be right back. I won't stop it so that it doesn't hurt with the flow. We great shotgun slow motion, the shell coming out, and we had the guy's brain splattered over the windshield. Done well. Doesn't have to be Maniac style. Doesn't have to be Joe Spinell blowing up Tom Savini's head. Still done very well, especially for what it needed to be. And just made back in time because this is when the film, after the nice slow burn with some nice action bits, the film really kicks in a high gear from here on. Yeah, more hour in, I should say. I said 50 minutes, an hour in. And once again, not on the Blu-ray is when she got hit, at least coming up, and you see this big blood squirt from her back. Definitely more violent in the word print. But this lady trying to do her best, the best as she can, and Sally dies. Good person. Yeah, that shot there, the blood split on her back, not in the Blu-ray or the theatrical. And this is where Van Damme turns on the Van Damage. Fuck you guys. Again, I don't know where this music is from in the work print. Interesting though. See, Van Damme takes off his coat, and now it's Van Damme's turn. So these guys are up shit creek. Son of a bitch must pay. So I'm going to do a Superman leap. Fuck y'all tonight. Look at that, like real people doing real stuff blowing up, not CGI enhancements, not CG, not everything on a fucking green screen studio like Skyscraper with The Rock. Every fucking thing's in a goddamn green screen. Look at that, outside, real stuff, real impact. Look at that, real sparks, real motorcycle, real stuntman doing his job very well. And little bits of violence extended that's only in the word print. It's not even on the Blu-ray, which is, I did a couple minutes extended, but not some of this stuff. And then one of my favorite scenes, one of my favorite parts, where he gives the, what I call the kiss my ass kick. Because you go up and you just go, kiss my ass. I love that. Beautifully done. Beautifully done. And because it's shot in slow-mo, you get to see that Van Damme did a good chunk of that himself. Beautiful stuff, man. I said, here on in, it fucking goes for the last 50 minutes of this movie. I mean, yeah, there are moments to take a breather, but it's definitely the roller coaster ride. And that's the thing, if you're going to do a slow build with a movie, you better make the payoff fucking worth it. If you don't make it worth it, then you fucked up, and that's on you. Then you get no sympathy from me. Because we go from that action bit there, which was badass. Now we get a cool motorcycle chase, which is extended on the Blu-ray, because for some reason this stuff was cut out. Have no idea why. What stuff was cut out? Well, when Van Damme has the machine gun and is shooting at a car, which we'll see coming up here. And I appreciate these stunt men and stunt women and the work that they did and how tough it must have been shooting outdoors. This stuff was cut out. It's only on the work print. It's not on the Blu-ray, the DVD, the theatrical cut. Here he is. When I'm watching this the first time way back, I'm like, what the fuck? He's shooting at a car? And, the car flips over? What? Where was this at? And the car flips over, and, it's going to have an explosion. And plus it helps with continuity, because there was a car chasing them, and then the car disappears. Like, where the fuck did the car go? The car went here, went boom. They're like, nah, just him with the motorcycle is good enough. But look at it, I mean, just badass, like, fucks up a car, fucks up a motorcycle. Nice shot coming up, a sliding right here. Sliding towards them, it blows up, they jump through the fucking fireball. And even after that, slam this guy right into boxes that happen to be there. Granted, there's a truck, so they're probably moving stuff, but, so a lot of these boxes just around there. But I'm fine with that. That doesn't fucking bother me. Even speaking of continuity, another shot that's cut out and is only on the work print. This shot coming up when the vehicle is coming the other way, this up close of the gas tank being shot right here. That's a cool looking shot of the gas tank being shot up. Because then when it leads to, oh, it's leaking, now we know why it's leaking. Because we had an up close shot right by the motorcycle. One, cool shot. Two, it shows how it got that way. So I don't know why the hell they did that. And of course, this great badass scene where he plays chicken with the oncoming truck and just shooting the shit out of these guys. Damn, total fucking badass moment. I did do an edit on this. See if you guys notice what I did. Look at this badass shooting these guys. Some of these bullet hits were not in the theatrical cut. Then does the flip, badass flip over the car, over the truck, and that's not enough. Just a bam, 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 and let's blow the shit out of it. I did edit the little bit where he's literally surfing the motorcycle because I thought that looked goofy. So that's part of my fan cut. The rest of it works fine. When he has a hand on the handlebar and he's shooting, that works fine. And again, just keeps going. Just, slow motion, fire right behind him. That's really him. Real fire blowing up behind him. Get out of the way of Fushan's, Lance Henderson's big fuck off gun. And then let's get some more stunt work. Jumping and onto a train. And then we'll have a breather, and then we'll get right back into the action. I mean, this. Even that, good stunt. Real train, real people, no green screen. Stuff to appreciate nowadays, because you're not going to see much of that in today's age. You're just not. Sad, but it's true. And look at that, utilizing real helicopters, not CG helicopters. Nowadays, they would just CG the fucking helicopters into that. In the word print, there is a bit here. I didn't put it in this, but if you watch just the word print, he actually does literally visualize Van Damme and Yancey Butler walking, and then cuts to him seeing these tracks. Which I thought worked better, just him seeing the tracks. Now you have his cohorts. The guy there in it's like a white shirt and he's smoking a cigarette right now, a cigar. That is Sven Thorson. Wait a minute, now he's not smoking a cigar. Wait a minute. The cigar disappeared for a second. But the guy who was big guy, had white on his shirt, that's Sven Thorson, Arnold Schwarzenegger's buddy, who was in Mallrats as the mall security guard. He was in The Running Man. He was in Conan Barbarian. Sven Thorson's been in a lot of stuff. He was the villain in this shitty movie called Abraxas. And then we're getting up to they're going to set a trap for these guys, which is a fun trap. But yeah, from the hour onward, it just goes and doesn't really stop. Even in these moments, like the camera's moving. And we get this fun moment with the snake coming up. Which I know Van Damme, when he had an interview for Expendables 2, someone asked him about this because they enjoyed the scene, as do I. And Van Damme explains it like there was a CEO who came up with the idea, and people like Van Damme were like, come on, really? Seriously? But people really enjoy the sequence. And it makes sense. It makes a lot of sense as to why. Because yeah, it's goofy, but it's fun and it's just more the badass of Chance Boudreaux and entertainment. That's what these films are supposed to be, entertaining. And this is a pretty cool moment. Surprise for his friends. And here's the surprise right here. Actual, rattlesnake trap. And this is a nice effect when he blows up this snake. Nice practical effect on. Nice explosion here. A little bit of gore here. Nicely done. And then more of Lance not giving shit about subordinates, just again, you'll see a lot more of Lance just beating the shit and just tearing into his subordinates throughout this movie. And then we did Wilford Brimley as Uncle Duvet, which a lot of people don't like, they badmouth, they make fun of. I sincerely enjoy it. I sincerely love it. I think Wilford Brimley, he's fun. He's entertaining. He plays a quirky, fun character. He's funny, purposely funny. And he's memorable. He's not annoying. He's not irritating. And I thought he had a nice sort of chemistry with Van Damme's character. Now, in the workprint version, they use music from Dragon the Bruce Lee story, which is nice. And there's a bit that was cut out here is only in the workprint. Now, a lot of it made fun of, but I think it's a nice, sweet moment between the two. Something they probably did when Van Damme's theater was a kid. It's short, it's sweet, brings more of their family moment to it. And the Dragon the Bruce Lee story music definitely helps. I would say that that's the best thing about that movie is Dragon the Bruce Lee story. It's not an awful movie, but I would say the score is the best part of that movie. A Gatorade. I still got your shotgun. Yeah, I've seen this movie quite a bit, so and that's I think really when you yourself is trying to do a list of your favorite films, what are films that you can watch anytime and not get tired of? That's when they become your favorites. And this is easily one of them. What's funny, I watched and ranted on this shitty movie called Solo: A Star Wars Story. And there's a scene where Han Solo gets his blaster. And it's done with no reverence to it, no anything to it. Just so here's a blaster. Okay. Yet this shotgun gets more reverence than anything in Solo, a Star Wars story. That's the difference between filmmaking nowadays and filmmaking back here. Like this shotgun. And this edit here where all these, you know, people that have died because of the villains and then the villains themselves. This is only in the work print version, not on the Blu-ray or DVD or anything. Give is sort of a nice moment where he's going to put some work in with that shotgun and you're ready for payback time. Both. And then we're getting to our big finale with the Mardi Gras graveyard. But before that, we have the horseback riding sequence, which I know originally was supposed to be a speedboat chase, which later they would do in Face Off, and that's a good scene in Face Off. I don't know if a speedboat chase would work in this movie. Like, I don't know if maybe the boat they would have used would have been one of those fan boat. I forget what you call it. The boats with the big fans behind them. Maybe that's what it would have been, but to me it makes more sense that it's on a horse, considering the environment that they're in. Like, where the fuck would you get a speedboat? I didn't. Maybe they would have him have. I did one of those fan boats, but I think horseback riding is fine and actually makes it more dangerous because you're dealing with a wild animal, and it's you riding this wild animal that's going to be steered by all these explosions and stuff, and it worked just fine. I mean, it still would have been him shooting at a helicopter, whether it be from a boat or a horse. I think either, it worked fine. So that was Van Damme's choice, and I thought it worked out well. Now they're Uncle Duvet's place, where we find out it's been booby trapped. Reminds you a little bit of the house from Invasion USA that Chuck Norris had. And definitely not the typical role Wilford Brimley plays, but that's what made it more fun. I thought it worked out very well. But do not spill. Kills the grass. And that guy taught him was Sven Thorson. Nice. Boom, arrow right by his head, which we'll see happen with Van Damme later on in the movie. I love that kind of stuff. I don't know how they did it. I'm guessing with wires. But once again, in the Blu-ray and DVD, even those, only on the work print, this is much more extended, these guys on fire. You get a lot more of these guys burning up. Definitely longer in the on the work print here. Yeah, this is definitely cut short on the Blu-ray DVD, the theatrical all cuts. Except this one. And then we're getting to, for the work print, music from First Blood coming up here. As we realize that he's booby trapped the place. Yep. There you go. Of course, great music from First Blood, Rambo. Got the Rambo cap on here for the occasion. While the Rambo music plays, let me just have this on there. Great explosions, practical, real explosions. I mean, look at it, for 18, $19 million, like all this stuff blowing up, real houses, real places, especially all the shit that happens at the Mardi Gras graveyard, and I mean, there are films triple the budget that doesn't have nearly the amount of stuff. See, once again, talking shit about his people. You are a fucking buffalo. And later on, we'll see in a little bit, he's going to trip one guy out off his feet. Fucking move, move. They're fucking brain dead. Yeah, that's one of the things I love about Lance Henriksen's character in this. The contempt he has of the people he's with. Except Arnold Vosloo's character. Right here, he trips the guy. You fucking move. They're fucking brain dead. I mean, going back for the action stars, you don't see a lot of action stars nowadays. I mean, once in a while on direct-to-video, you have Scott Adkins, Michael Jai White, some of the older guys doing stuff like Dolph Lundgren, Van Damme. You know, in theaters, maybe Jason Statham, The Rock, Vin Diesel has been trying. I did. Those are really the three. A little bit of Liam Neeson, but definitely, times has changed on that. I mean, you think about back in the day, even films that now no one really talks about, but are great action movies, like Dead Bane, Eye of the Tiger with Gary Busey. I mean, take your Beverly Hills, let alone Beverly Hills Cop 1 and 2, and Die Hard films, and Last Man Standing with Bruce Willis, and the list just goes on and on. And that time is never going to come again. You just gotta face facts. And it never is. And there's nothing we can do about it. And even if a movie like that is made, it has to be done well. I think the closest films that came to that were John Wick 1 and 2, The Raid Redemption, and Dread. Which is probably why those are some of my favorite films in the past couple years. But they're definitely not the norm like they were back in the day. Because they're not going to do stuff like this. Like, they don't. I can understand not wanting to put a horse in jeopardy. Of course, I understand that. That's why you have to be careful. You have to do it well and do it right. So you have like a real person on a horse riding, explosions, gunfire, squibs for pieces on the ground, pieces of the tree, pieces of the branches among the trees. Like all this stuff being blown up here. And they probably have, you got sparks on the helicopter, and they probably have Van Damme riding some type of, there you go, nice blood squib dripping out of him. Love that. I'm not sure if that's on the Blu-ray. That might be, I'm not sure. That blood squib. I know, again, it wasn't in the theatrical cut of the movie. But it might be on the Blu-ray. But again, it's very dangerous, and makes me appreciate the stuntmen. Makes me appreciate the people who went into it. The stuff that went into it. Now we're going to get into our grand finale here. And I didn't make a mess up around here where the same scene plays twice. That's coming up, and hey, like I said, I'm not a professional. This was again just made for fun, for my own personal viewing pleasure. But that's coming up. But before that, just the amount of work it takes to put all these squibs around there. And this is the scene here. I screwed up, and this scene will appear twice. Yancey Butler and Wilford Brimley talking to each other. So, sorry about that. So you'll see that again in a little bit. But what's weird is when you watch the Blu-ray, the DVD, The warehouse here does not look this atmospheric, like the blue and even some of the purplish blue. I actually really like it on this work print. It gives it a nice, almost creepy atmosphere to it. Which makes it more of a cool setting for this to take place in. And also, I appreciate that there's a big body count, so there's a lot of bad guys who are going to get killed by Van Damme's badassery. And a fun location to play off, to play around. It's a great playground for this kind of stuff. And I think that's another thing. If I were to make an action film, this is the type of action film I would want to make. You know, simple, straightforward plot, memorable villains, badass hero, and insane action. You know, and let the hero get a big body count. And here we get to, I would say, my favorite moment in the movie. You know, you got some pigeons doing their business, and then coming up to here, this reveal. He pigeon. This is the epitome of badass right here. I love this. My favorite moment in the movie. Not only shoot him in the face with a gas can, but blow him and his motorcycle in a fireball through glass. It doesn't get more badass than that. And then, and see, like I said, this is where I screwed up. But hey, what can you do? Yeah, I'm not perfect. And these guys ripping us a new orifice. I think my friend Effrey told me one time that he uses that expression a lot now because of this movie. Ripping himself a new orifice. Well, you may be on number 20 to 1, but believe me, that one is about a megaton of explosive arsenal of vein damage that you can't contain and cannot stop. And like I said, your ass is grass and Van Damme is the lawnmower. And just all this stuff, just the theatrics, the usage of slow-mo, the amount of stuff just being thrown about, exploding, debris, sparks, smoke, especially in this work part, the atmosphere, almost like a 80s music video. And just a cool location, this Mardi Gras graveyard with all these creepy heads around that was used for parades and so forth, and left in a pretty much left to the dust to the until the next year to pull them off for the next Mardi Gras. Just an interesting location for an action movie. And if you didn't cast Van Damme, you wouldn't have set in New Orleans. If you didn't set in New Orleans, then you wouldn't have this. So Van Damme's casting worked a lot better for that. Because you wouldn't have a cool location like this. And a good chunk of the action in this sequence is put on the Blu-ray, but not all of it either. Even some of the action in this finale is not put back on the Blu-ray, which again, like I said, is longer than the theatrical cut. Only some of it is put back in. So, people are like, well, why do you need the work print when you got the Blu-ray? The Blu-ray does not have everything. There's a lot of stuff that the Blu-ray does not have, that the UK cut does not have. And believe me, I've seen the film enough times to notice it. I just love this sort of death from above, sending the message to all the haters, all the imitators, all the slime and sleazeballs. Rain my death upon thee with furious vengeance, with the shotgun, just blowing up everything, sparks everywhere, fucking up people left and right, like about now. Boom. And this is where Lance Henriksen got on fire. Lance Henriksen, real stuff, real fire. And just narrowly avoiding being blown up there. Great flips, like right here. Look at that. Boom. Again, you will never see that kind of stuff nowadays. Never. Just insane. That's why I love it. No, those flips were cut out of the theatrical, but those flips are on the Blu-ray. But this is before the Blu-ray and the UK DVD came. I even knew about. So when I saw it work, I'm like, holy shit, he does flips, dude. Why the fuck was that cut out? So much stuff cut out of theatrical, just in fucking bullshit. And once again, this is another really cool moment where Sven Thorsson's death scene. A lot more bullet hits. Tremendous amount more bullet hits. Just keeps going and going and going and going. And then one of the most beautiful 360 kicks he did. Probably my favorite 360 kick that he did. Just that beautiful, I call it hurricane kick, but I don't know what. I'm not sure if there's a specific name for that kick. I just call it the 360 kick, but. And that Diva Rest Pal, again, not a theatrical cut. I think that's on the Blu-ray though, as well as the work print, of course. I said, wait a minute, he killed more people there? What the fuck? And then we're going to get a longer stint of seeing the arrow through this guy's neck. The shot will hold a bit longer. Nice. Show us the effect of it. Very nice. And then this guy here coming up does this stupid thing where he calls this girl a bitch, even though she's got a gun, so shows how fucking stupid this guy is. Total moron. Fucking moron. And then we get to see more of the Van fucking damage. Fuck to your chest. Boom, boom, boom. Another beautiful flip. And then do a Tarzan swing, but I'm going to shoot the shit out of people with great, beautiful blood squibs. Bam, bam, bam. Sorry, there's not much commenting about this. One of my favorite moments here. I love this narrow dodge. And now we're getting to the music from Aliens. James Horner, which works perfectly. It really works perfectly in this. Granted, Aliens is one of my favorite musical scores, but still. Just Aliens soundtrack. And he's shooting and kicking people in the face and shoot him some more. Then I'm going to kick him in the face and I'm going to shoot him some more. I love Legends. I love it. This finale is just so fucking epic. Like, you go from blowing a guy up with a gas can from his face to swinging and shooting someone to shooting someone, kicking him in the face, shooting him some more. Then let me use this thing up here as a shield. Just sparks flying everywhere, bullets flying everywhere, explosions everywhere, blood squibs right there, boom, boom, boom. Oh my god. And then Lance gets into it, another voice. Like, look at this! Look at this! A void right out of the way. Great shot. It keeps going! Let the bodies hit the floor, literally. And then fuck your knees. Please. And this is cool shooting through the windows and shooting through the walls. It's like, okay, take a little breather. Boudreaux, Boudreaux. Been looking in the wrong places.
I've been looking all over for you. You've been looking in the wrong places. That's good.
We want you to hurt my feelings.
You wouldn't want to hurt my feelings.
And once again, this great sort of back-to-back, just tearing through the wall. Just how much staging would have went into this? Each of glass breaking, the guns not misfiring, broken glass, all the stuff in between the actors blowing up at the right time, the right moment. Okay, this actor here is going to get shot. Make sure the blood squibs work correctly. And then he's going to drop his grenade. And this is the second guy Van Damme killed because he shot the other guy before this guy. Look at all this blood squib. Just, you don't see this anymore. Movies don't get this violent anymore. Look at it, just blown through the fucking window. And on top of that, like, all this alien soundtrack playing. Fuck you, I'm gonna kick you in, shoot you in the gut. And then this amazing stunt. Look at this, crashing through, grenade blown up right behind you, literally pushing you with the fireball. Look at this, boom, right under the table, and shooting Arnold Vosloo 58 times. I, I love this shit. And I don't mean shit as in bad, as in the shit. Let Skyscraper with the Rock do something like that. And the Skyscraper had what, $150 million budget? $100 million budget? This is 18, 19 million. Oh, it's 25 years ago. Fine, put what, double it? Even if you tripled it, it would be maybe half the budget of fucking Skyscraper. I mean, it's just amazing, man, what they're able to accomplish. They can't do that nowadays. They either make these direct-to-video films where not much happens, or they make these CGI fueled, I don't know what you call it, green screen-a-thons. And a nice hit here with the great blood script. Boom, flying back. Hey! I remember that being the final shot of the trailer for Hard Target with Van Damme and that type of T-shirt, the type of T-shirt John McClane would wear. And even this bit here with him rolling on the ground shooting at Lance Henriksen, this is not in the Blu-ray. It's only in the work print. This back and forth where he's rolling around shooting at him. It's longer and it's only on the work print. So while a good chunk of this finale's in the Blu-ray, bits like that not on the Blu-ray. It's only in the work print. Now these flips are on the Blu-ray, but like that bit I was talking about before, it's not in it. But that's for me, just this like balletic action, violence, explosions, sparks, fire, gunshots. This finale is fucking insane. Fucking insane. It's not much commentary because it's just me enjoying it. And this is why it's my favorite. This finale is my favorite finale of any movie. Because it's like the hero, the villain, two great forces of nature. I'm on this cool location, an insane amount of action and battle good versus evil. And this was not in the theatrical cut, this longer speech from Lance. This is definitely cut down the theatrical cut. I'm not sure if it's on the Blu-ray. It might not be on the Blu-ray. I don't remember. Again, it just pissed me off how much stuff was cut out of the theatrical cut. Beautiful flip. Nice blood squib flying back. Beautifully done. Just the way the angles and the staging and all the fire around and the way the work print looks, it gives it more of a darker ambiance and grittier look to it. And he stabs Wilford Brimley and punches him. I'm not sure if the punch was in the theatrical cut. I know he stabs Wilford Brimley, but I'm not sure if the punch was in there too. Now, at the end, the work print version, in this scene, Van Damme does the kick, then just throws the grenade, and then Lance blows up. Again, I guess the audience felt, no, we want Lance to suffer more, so they again shot additional photography of Van Damme actually fighting Lance one-on-one. Again, just great hero, great villain, face to face. I think this piece of music is from Aliens as well. Which makes sense, because you have Bishop. Bishop turned evil, finally. Well, not finally, I don't want him to turn evil, but they got to Bishop. Fair warning, when it gets to the end credits, if you have headphones, turn it down, because I screwed up in the audio of the end credits, so it's a bit too loud. So again, if you're watching it with headphones, when it gets to the end credits, or before it, make sure to turn down your volume. Again, because I screwed up on that as well. And you'll know when we get to it. Poor people get bored too. And this is sort of a great, different, unique quick draw. It's not gun versus gun. It's Lance's gun versus Van Damme's type of gun, and his type of gun is his legs, which we saw early when he revealed it. It is a different, unique type of the gunfight, the showdown. Even this, like, that edit there way back, only in the word print. And spit up blood. Yep, and now in the theatrical cut. Because again, this stuff is not in the word print. This stuff from now on. Which I love this stuff too. I'm glad they went back to do additional photography. Because you got another beautiful 360 kick, some nice hits to make the villain suffer. That's a beautiful kick there too, right across the face. And then another badass moment right about now. Fuck your fire. Nice bits of editing there. I love it, just breaking the board in half via, yeah. Again, make the villain suffer. Love that. And there you go. And then his cockiness gets the better of him. He didn't do this in the warp print, it just blew up between them. But this is a fun moment. Sort of nice laugh before the explosion of the bad guy. And this is where we find out Wilford Brimley's still alive. Now again, turn down your volume if you have headphones, because I did fuck up on the aisle when the credits. My mistake, so again, to warn people. I do like the song Born on the Bayou, but this is my own fan cut for my own personal, so I put a different song in there just for fun, but I just put it too high. So that was my mistake. So I don't want to blow out people's eardrums. This is a fun bit. His bottle. Coming up right here. That is We Will Rock You, the Queen song by uh, Dance with the Dead. Actually, it's a Dance with the Dead or Dance of the Dead. Dance with the Dead. The remix of We Will Rock You. I thought it was great. So while the end credits play, like I said, I'm a big fan of the movie. People knew it enough to send me the poster of the film, Laserdisc. I got DVD, Blu-ray, VHS. Uh, if you can find the word print version, or if, again, feel free to watch my fan cut. Feel free to make your own fan cuts. I would love to see it. Believe me, I'm not a professional. If you had to choose between getting the DVD or the Blu-ray, get the Blu-ray because it has a couple more minutes of footage in. If you find the word print, if you want to view that by itself, there's actually two versions of the word print. There's a 116-minute version with music. This is the one I used. Then there's a 128-minute version with zero music. Other than the no music, I don't know all the differences between the 116-minute and 120-minute, 28-minute word print. Yeah, hard target. I'll probably end this when the end credits roll out, but yeah, I love this movie to death. I love the simple story of good versus evil done in an epic level, the action, the set pieces, the characters, Van Damme, Lance Henriksen, Otto Vosloo, Wilford Brimley. It's just an epic action movie. High octane roller coaster ride. Oh, Canby worked on the effects. Okay. Okay, because they worked with Sam Raimi on stuff like Army of Darkness. So, okay. So it was TMB. Very nice. Epic poster, epic title, epic action scenes. To me, a great story. Simple but effective story. And just what I want in an action movie. That's why I love it. It's what I want in an action movie. It's total badassery. So thanks for watching. Take care. Happy 25th anniversary to my favorite film of all time, Hard Target. See you guys later. Bye bye.